Yeah, if the NBA, if they go to some type of new format in the playoffs that I haven't seen, where a team's going to play maybe 5 games in 8 days, and then going to play a back-to-back, and then going to have to travel from the West Coast, go back to Cleveland, pick up a change of clothes, then go to Boston. If they do it like that, and then
Boston has a chance.
And then the Celtics haven't played since New Year's Eve, I think that, yeah, absolutely. Like, if in that situation, given the NBA, a lot of times we look at these matchups, but maybe with Nick, we need to look at, okay, what's the schedule before we got here? And maybe is there any discrepancy in the amount of rest? Because that's what last night's game was. It was a classic NBA of a back-to-back. And you're talking about the ultimate advantage in the NBA is when you're on back-to-backs, let alone them coming from last week's West Coast trip. So it was about rest. Boston, they looked okay. It was not a great basketball game. I think they're getting more comfortable with who Cleveland has. But even with Isaiah Thomas playing the night before, not playing last night, this is not the Cleveland team that we're going to see. So I'm not surprised by the results. First quarter started off pretty intense, but for the Cavs, they looked like a tired basketball team.
I was surprised by the result. I text you before the game. I'm like, hey, Cece, what line you got on this game? I thought I saw the Cavs with 3-point underdogs. I thought the Cavs would win the game outright. So I was surprised by it. You mentioned the back-to-backs. It's odd, but it's true. LeBron James in his career averages more points on the second night of a back-to-back than he does on regular rest. It doesn't seem to usually – he's not a guy that seems to wear down. And early in the game, it didn't look like he was wearing down at all. He was 7 of 8 from the field to start. So I was surprised that the Celtics won and won convincingly the way they did. But does this change my opinion? No. And it shouldn't change anyone's opinion. Whatever you thought going into last night's game, if you're in the Chris Mannix field, and I'm sure he'll join us sometime in the next few weeks, the Celtics are the favorite. Then good, you should still feel that way. If you're in the correct field, that the Cavs are obviously the favorite, you should still feel that way. Last night was the outlier of outlier performances. Maybe it was because of the discrepancy in rest, but here's what I know about last night. Last night, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, and a guy named Daniel Theis, pardon me, combined to go 9 of 14 from 3. Meanwhile, Kevin Love, Jay Crowder, and Dwayne Wade combined to go 5 of 33 from the field. If Kevin Love's going to have the worst game of his career, Jay Crowder's going to have his worst game of the season, Dwayne Wade's going to have his worst game in 2 months. At the same time, Terry Rozier has the best game of his career, then guess what's going to happen? The Celtics are going to win despite Kyrie Irving playing poorly. Nothing that we saw last night is duplicable. So, no, it's not going to change my opinion.
Okay, I agree with you that last night was sort of a dud. But when I brought up a couple weeks ago that the Celtics were playing poor because they were just being hammered at the end of the year, back-to-back games, no rest in between games, I said, well, isn't there something to this? And maybe this is why their stretch is the way it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that what I got back was, hey, this is the schedule you're going to get. You're going to have to deal with it, and you got ups and you downs. You play with it, which is why I fully understand what the Cavs are going through and why last night everyone just sort of had a dud of a game.
Well, the Celtics, to respond to that, the Celtics, I think it was more of a justification for a prolonged bad stretch of basketball as opposed to one night.
It was a correction to them playing great basketball. Like, we knew they couldn't continue to shoot like that. We knew that they couldn't continue to play defense like that. So the NBA and the schedule made its correction, which we saw in the performance.
And the Cavs have lost, what, 4 of their last 5?
4 of 5 and maybe 5 of 7.
Okay, so it's a smaller sample size. But perhaps what was happening to the Celtics with the fatigue is, could that possibly be catching up to the Cavs a little bit?
All those things are in play. Yeah. But the reason that I wasn't, as Cece mentioned, that I was not going to simply attribute what was going on with the Celtics to the schedule was because it was a necessary correction. The Celtics were never going to finish the year with the best record in the NBA. And the reason I'm not going to overreact to last night was because nothing I saw about last night seems to me to apply to a playoff series. Forget the fact that the Cavs' second-best player was not playing in Isaiah Thomas. Just the fact that Kevin Love was terrible. Yeah. You take out Kyle Korver, the Cavs who shoot more threes than any team in the league but Houston. They were 3 of 24 from 3. It was the worst offensive night the Cavs have had all year long, and you had some guys from the Celtics that are not big point scorers.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier and Marcus Smart
No doubt.
play out of their mind.
When you say done this, what do you mean?
As far as not make a decision. His last year, the first time in Cleveland, they asked him this all year. He had the right to opt out of the contract. He did, which led to the decision, which led into Miami for 4 years. In that 4 years there, he had the ability to leverage his contract. He did that. In the 4th year, he decided to leave, go back to Cleveland. He had the same approach. And in Cleveland, didn't he sign
2 years?
He signed 1 year deals
deals
there. So this is the way LeBron is going to operate. No, I wasn't surprised. I didn't expect him to get him an answer. Dan Gilbert didn't expect an answer. LeBron, he doesn't know what's best for him at the first week in January compared to total free agency and where other players are going to go. IT, the second best player on the Cavs. This is last year of his contract. So why should LeBron what advantage does LeBron have by committing early to Cleveland compared to just waiting, which we've seen him do? And he's kind of orchestrated his career very brilliantly, to recover from the PR nightmare of the decision, going to Miami, getting 2 championships there, and bringing a championship back to Cleveland. So I like the way LeBron has handled his business. This is what I expected. I would have been shocked if there was any type of reply or answer or commitment either way that I was leaving. I mean, just imagine if LeBron wakes up this morning and he had told Dan Gilbert, I'm leaving.
Well, if you said Dan Gilbert didn't expect an answer, why is Dan Gilbert even asking this, knowing this is what
He
LeBron
owns the team.
does?
He's got to ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's the off chance that LeBron gives him a definitive answer, so there's no problem in asking it. But anyone acting as if LeBron did the wrong thing by not giving a commitment one way or another, what if LeBron didn't know? What if LeBron right now doesn't know?
You mean if he pulls a Doug Peterson and tells the truth?
No, I just mean, like, what if LeBron's asked before they trade Kyrie, are you committed to the Cavs long term? And he really doesn't know. Well, my second best player seems to not be on the same page as me. We're going to get more into that later. Then they trade Kyrie. All right, well, now I don't know how I'm going to mesh with Isaiah Thomas. I don't know his health. I don't know what the situation is going to be like in Los Angeles or in Houston or anywhere else. Like, I've been saying this for a while, and I mean it. I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of the NBA reporters out there. But there are a few people that have claimed to report that they know what LeBron's going to do next season. I believe those people are either being lied to or are lying, because I don't think LeBron knows. I think right now, if you were LeBron's best friend, if you are Mav Carter or you're Rich Paul and you're having this conversation, so what are we doing this offseason? Man, I don't know. If we win the title, I'm almost assuredly staying.
Yes. And I can validate, not through Mav, we both know Mav, but through the agent Paul, that LeBron doesn't know what he's going to do. In a recent meeting, that was discussed about some other type of business. It was brought up, and he said, we really didn't know. When LeBron made the decision, when he was on that airplane flying, the people on the plane did not know where LeBron was going to sign. So for us to think, the way he's navigated throughout his life and his career, he's the only person really to live up to the hype of a nickname like the King. I'm going to trust his decision-making, and this is very similar to the other ways he's made the decision.
And when you have leverage and power in a situation, why would you ever make a decision before you have
everyone else always does that, Nick. Like with their career and everything, they always, I would have given the guy. When you got leverage, you better maintain that leverage.
And you want to get all the available information. Why would you ever make a decision, a career life-changing decision, without all the available information to you? Some guys commit long-term early because of the financial security of it, because they want to be able to entice other guys to play with them. LeBron's financially secure and going to be able to entice guys to play with him no matter what. He is not incentivized at all to make a rash decision.
Your gut, though, is if they win, he stays in Cleveland.
My gut is he's staying in Cleveland if they win or lose. I think Cleveland is a favorite versus the field. Not a heavy favorite, but a favorite versus the field.
Yeah, I think right now your gut don't matter. I think it just in general, like, it does not matter. What we've seen from LeBron, we are. I don't want to guess.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's
no
fair.
gut. It doesn't matter. I know LeBron. I know the way they're going about things. Things can change in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, if they can't sign IT, why does LeBron stay there? I mean, why would they? If they don't do something with the Brooklyn pick, with that asset, why should he stay there?
It changes my perception on whether or not like people actually read news stories, because the idea that Kyrie was being shopped was out there for a long time.
Yes.
I mean, this was that to me wasn't the news in the story, but it's what everyone's talking about today. The news in the story to me was an exchange confirmed by Ty Lue and Kyrie Irving
Yes.
at practice during last year.
Of a style for which they were trying to play in Cleveland.
I'm going to read this exchange that was confirmed by all parties. Tyronn Lue said, "Kai, I want you to play a little faster." Irving asked why. Tyronn Lue said, "Because if we play faster, we get shots off easier." Kyrie replied, "I don't need to play faster to get my shot off. I can do that anytime." To which the coach, Tyronn Lue, said, "I'm not talking about your shot. I'm talking about RJ and JR, talking about his teammates." To which Kyrie Irving said, "Well, that's number 23's job." You then add to that a report in The Athletic earlier this year that Randy Mims, one of LeBron's closest friends, tried to dap up
Jenna.
Tried to tap up Kyrie's father while they were still teammates. And Kyrie said he shouldn't be fraternizing with the enemy. The enemy. His best friend of one of his teammates. And then you hear the Cavs were trying to acquire Eric Bledsoe and Paul George.
He got to go.
Well, if you're trying to beat the Warriors and you can get a point guard that's 75% as good as Kyrie and Eric Bledsoe and Paul George who can guard Kevin Durant, of course you have those discussions. Like, Cece, there's only 5 or 6 guys in the entire league that you do not entertain trade discussions with. Steph, Durant, LeBron, Giannis. With all due respect to Kyrie, he's not on that list. Like, I don't know why he would feel disrespected. Of course, your name's going to come up in trade discussion.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.